So I guess we finally decided to actually like wake up. Sorry, it's been so long since I had my last upload. I don't really have a concise upload schedule because I don't know if I'm gonna do this like for real or seriously. I just do whatever I want at this point. But it's been quite a while. Since my last upload, I forgot what I was talking about. But the demons got me last year, but I think I'm free for now. A lot of things did happen last year, but that's not important. You know what the topic of this video is this time? You know how you've always wanted me to talk about oshikatsu in the shipping community? That's right, I'm gonna talk about the purity culture again. Okay, come on. Okay, I had to talk about it. Last time I did talk about how purity culture was affecting fandom spaces like, right now, and how it's making people afraid to like create or even like engage with their respective communities. And how it's kind of like turning their fandom into like a whole, war zone over, I would say, an adult character just showing a sliver of skin. But something I didn't really get to talk about like last time is like where the mindset like came from, because, it keeps coming back, and I only touched about it like briefly about the history. So we might go to a history lesson because I don't think I'm talking to idiots at this point. I think I trust my audience, whoever that is. Maybe choose two people. Yeah. So when people hear about purity culture, some people go, "Oh my God, not this again," or like strict religious places like certain branches of Christian fundamentalism. So if you've heard things like save yourself for marriage or cover up to like women, so as in connecting your morality to your modesty, or how people say that if you have certain thoughts then it makes you a bad person. You may think, oh, okay, it's from religion, but I would say the core idea goes way beyond it, and it's more of a moral thing that was put upon society back then. But I mean, well, it does have roots in religion, but it's mostly from the belief that consuming or even daring to think about immoral things makes you immoral. So the mindset did spread out of churches and did influence censorship in media, and then there was criticism of art and even like some laws. Like, have you heard of the Comstock Act? In the US, there were anti-obscenity laws like the Comstock Act of 1873 that restricted what kind of content people could create or even mail to others. So it was just the idea of we must control what people see to protect their morality, and it really isn't much of a new one. So that was the 1870s, and now here's the big turning point. That was the 1960s, at least in the US, during what was often called the free love era. So that was when social norms around stuff like relationships or gender roles in the household, or like how sexualities like started shifting really fast, especially with the introduction of birth control, which gave women more control over the bodies and choices, which I'm sure not a lot of men liked. In turn, that also challenged a lot of power structures that had made its place in society for a really long time before that. So in response to that, there were more conservative religious movements, especially like from branches of evangelical Christianity, and started doubling down on strict ideas about things like gender roles and marriage and sexual purity. I don't know why I said doubling down. Maybe, I don't know, doubled, I guess, doubled. The idea was based more around like your morality, and that sex should only exist within a very specific framework. And anything outside of that is seen as sinful, and you should go to hell, I guess. And that mindset was mostly just, a mindset. It only stayed like in everyone's head until it actually turned into like organized movements by the 1990s. I know it's like mostly based in the US, but I was kind of born here, so I don't know what to tell you. Um, Back on track, one of the biggest examples was the True Love Waits campaign, which did encourage teenagers to make formal pledges to remain abstinent until marriage. Like these weren't like private, like you had to actually say it in public. And they often had symbols like, purity rings. And there were events like father-daughter purity balls. So from the outside you might think, okay, well, they're just promoting their values to other people. That might be the case, but I'm like scratching my head at this, and I'm like, well, they're actually just reinforcing that a person's worth, especially a young woman's, was tied to how pure they remained. But these studies later found that these pledges didn't actually really change behavior in the long run, since it seems to show how people who took them were just as likely to become sexually active as those who didn't. The impact was mostly about, I would say perception and create a culture where having certain thoughts or behaviors was seen as inherently wrong, regardless of context. Uh, so let me repeat myself, my first point. When we talk about purity culture, a lot of people tend to think that it just appeared online, like it's some new fandom problem. When in reality, no, no, not really. Um, people think it's like, oh, don't have sex before marriage, but like I've said before, it goes way deeper than that, and it does reinforce the belief that when you're engaging with something impure, even in fiction or like in art, it does reflect your moral character as a person, and you deserve to go to hell. Amen. Um, I know, don't take it out of context. So how does this tie to TikTok? So the lesson's over. We're gonna get into the actual part of the video. Something I've noticed, and I'm sure you have too, is like the mindset is that this is like really intense among teenagers online. Like when I was 13, I've had a similar mindset. I was like, ew, 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 sex, oh, don't do that, don't no, no, my favorites, no, my blorbles, don't do that. But okay, my defense, I just had a really Catholic family growing up. Okay, I was forced to go to many anti-abortion protests and speeches. That was just the environment we had growing up. I have changed. Back on track. I don't say that to be me, but it does make sense when you think about the environment that they're in. Like on platforms like TikTok, you wouldn't be creating your own space the same way you would on like older fandom sites like forums. I I I don't know if I can go deeper into that because I wasn't conscious, or I don't think I was really born when forums were like around. I don't know about that, buddy. But like TikTok is still a relatively like quote unquote new site compared to like I would say like sites like blog sites like Tumblr. Even if it's a microblogging site, technically it's been around for ages. And I would say back in the day you would like search for content, but like nowadays you're just being fed it. Right now you can be 14 and scrolling on your For You page, and then boom, you're suddenly exposed to shit site you don't like or content that makes you uncomfortable. I mean, of course, the next reasonable thing you think is this shouldn't exist at all because you don't choose what you're saying at all, and it feels like it's like being pushed onto you. And at such a young age, you're still figuring out stuff like your boundaries or like your morals and what you're okay and not okay with, especially online. So I would say it's pretty easy to default to like the extreme thoughts. Like when I was 14, there was like barely any room for nuance yet. So everything to me was like black and white. So I categorized things like this is good, this is bad, this person's safe, this person's weird. And then the algorithm just kind of makes it worse, in my opinion. I get that not every 14-year-old thinks this way. I mean, everyone's different. And I really am just basing it on this like my personal experience and from what I've seen. So now I've got like an environment where like the best moral reactions get rewarded. Like, oh, thank you, you're you're on such a moral high horse. Like, you're so much better than us, worthless, disgusting plebeians. And people would start performing those reactions more intensely since they would get more positive engagement. So that ends up with someone drawing like a fictional character, like an adult, with like curves, and then they would be privately warned, like I just killed their grandma. And the situation isn't that serious, where like from an outsider's perspective, but for their personal experience, like I mean, they've probably seen like what behavior was rewarded and what wasn't. So their environment is like encouraging people to respond to it like it is an actual problem. I guess I'm going to hell now. I'm not saying these younger teens are the problem. I don't really blame them at all. Like I was in their shoes once. So I mean, well, I know they're reacting to a system that like constantly throws things at them without context and doesn't really teach them to just disengage with the content that they don't like. Though the results do kind of stay the same within the spaces aren't feel like you're in like George Orwell's hit dystopian novel 1984, like, okay, Big Brother's watching, guys. So you just haven't opened your eyes, like, online. We do have this weird cycle going on, like, happening. As my good friend Ivan puts it, I'm gonna read this. We keep reverting back to purity culture, like it's the constant circle of being a pervert, being an anti-pervert, and then being a pervert again. This is just like in, like, 2020, where everyone hated Fujoshis, and in 2023, where everyone loved Fujos. And now people are hating them again. And I do agree with him. He does make like a really good point. We are in fact losing the plot. There would be 1 year where people would be called problematic and raise their pitchforks for over people like liking a certain ship. And then in the next year, like, oh, okay, we're cool with it now. Okay, we're friends. Next year, okay, we hate it now. Okay, cool, I guess. So we just keep like forgetting our own history, and it puts us in this weird loop. Except with every loop, it kind of gets more and more performative. Now, let's talk about something I've seen, like, up close and very personal, and, like, I'm, like, referring to my personal DMs, like, actually in, like, Discord. I've noticed there's a really heavy double standard in fandoms, like, right now, I mean, this is, like, kind of like referring to an OC-centered Discord server and not specifically a fandom, but it's close enough. If you know what I'm talking about, you're gonna get me killed. Do you realize? Do you realize something? Let me tell you. If they somehow find this video and realize that the section is vaguely about them, I'm gonna get in like real trouble. Okay, anyways, this happened a while ago, but it impacted my psyche so much. I'm like still thinking about it. The story is, I drew my adult OC lying down. She's fully grown. She's like 47. Oh no, she's a 47-year-old minor, I guess. She has a son. She's chilling. She has curves. Okay, okay. Woo, scary. And then someone was like DM me saying, "Oh, that's not for work. Can you be careful drawing her next time?" What? I've had a friend draw their male C in the same pose, and they faced no private warnings. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I drew my male C shirtless one time, and that was fine. So what on earth is truly happening here? This is feeling really weird. I get the whole, okay, we gotta protect the minors, but it gets to the point where it comes across like how women's bodies are treated as inappropriate and needed to be censored. Hell, I drew this photo of my OC, and I just cropped it to her face and sent it to our channel because I don't want to go through it all again. I'm looking back right now, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I am contributing to the problem, but it's okay. No one cares about this one. This whole behavior ties into like the very long history of other people policing women's bodies and then associating their femininity with temptation and also treating their curves as it's inherently sexual. Oh, scary. Also, where have I heard of that before? Take. This is my very nuanced take that people would probably raise an eyebrow. Please, you gotta hold my hand when I actually say this. Yes, minors do exist in fandom spaces, but fandom spaces were never designed to be environments that needed to be child-proof. Yes, that means adults obviously shouldn't be sending explicit content to minors, nor should minors be doing the same thing as well. But adults shouldn't really have to sanitize their entire personality to act like saints around them. Okay, it's really complicated. I say that maybe it wouldn't really kill a 16 or 17-year-old to see stuff like I would say like a suggestive joke or something mild like once or twice. They're not being harmed because do you remember what high school was like? Everyone around me was making jokes like that everywhere. But yeah, I do have to clarify. I'm not also telling minors to go to DMs of adults and make not super work jokes too in their DMs. And I'm also not saying adults should be doing that to their DMs as well. Like don't do that. But some people act like not safe for work jokes are gonna kill their grandma. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna corrupt this teenager or something evil. That's so evil. They aren't babies. They aren't 6 years old. I mean, my point does clarify. Again, I have to say this again. Don't do this to random minors. But I don't know. Some people just feel the need to publicly prove that they're morally correct and get on their high horse about it. And some people nowadays just kind of flag boundaries. They don't block or they don't filter anymore. They just, argue and technically engage with the material, which just makes it worse and it goes on their feed more. I would say fandoms were never meant to be pure in the first place. Fandoms have always been weird or messy or sometimes uncomfortable, but I say that's what made it creative in the first place. It was good to broaden your view and meet new people that can challenge your current views. I'll go insane if I was part of some hive mind group where we all just yes man and we just never challenge each other. People trying to sanitize fandom spaces under the presumption that it would just make the space safer for people just ends up making the place feel more restrictive and just makes it feel small and unwelcoming. And what really gets me is that how people have started prioritizing fiction over reality. Oh no, those poor fictional adult men are being sexualized. Oh no, the horrors. Oh my god, be so serious right now. We're talking about fictional characters, like actual pixels. I mean, no offense to this, but they're they're not real people, nor are they victims. I mean, it's in the kindest way possible, but you gotta put the phone down. The way people react, you think I just killed their whole family, right in front of them, just for drawing a character of curves, or I would say making a slightly suggestive joke. Oh, so evil! I can't believe it. The way people react, do you think I just killed their whole family, right in front of them? I just murked everyone in their whole house, just for drawing a character of curves or making a slightly suggestive joke. Oh my god, the horrors! Why would you say that? That's so evil. Dude, I can't lie to you right now, but there are more pressing matters in real life. There's actual real life issues going on right now. I don't know why you're so worried about fictional adult characters acting and being treated like adults by adults online on discord.com. I was raised in the good old twitter.com, okay? I survived 2023 on Twitter. I think the unspoken rule that everyone had followed like pre-quarantine was like, if you don't like it, then you just scroll. Like, it's kind of simple. It's like it's like obvious to like not engage with the things that makes you uncomfortable, and the most that you can really do is like literally block or filter it out and then move on. Like, it's a universal understanding. Like, everyone knew this, and that everything is like not for you or like catered to you, and like that's fine. Like, just don't yuck other people's yum. But I think I'd probably get like sniped if I said this in certain in certain places. Nowadays, people just like go out of their way to like look for the things that they don't like and interact with it anyways, and then they get shocked that it exists. Like, you're just spending your time up in other people's businesses. Like, you're judging their house, you're judging their furniture, their decoration, and then you're being shocked by it. And then that time could have been like used to like do something more productive. I can't lie. And so instead of like creating like your own space, they try to control everyone else's. And like in the past, it used to be, oh, what do I make, or what do I write, and what do I like want to draw. But now people are like, okay, well, is this gonna get me attacked by the fandom? It kind of does take the fun out of it. When fandoms like start being sanitized or like heavily restricted, it feels like you're like walking on eggshells at this point. It just becomes like really boring and not really fun. I can see why people like drop out of fandoms. Like, it's not a really good place. Well, at least on like TikTok. Instagram is its own rabbit hole, and Twitter, anything goes on Twitter actually. Before I like actually wrap it up, we can also take a little moment to talk about the buzzwords I see on TikTok. And like, I see like every sentence online is like, this is the normalization of, this is the glorification of, the not the romanticization of, why is this the commodification of? Like, oh my god, please. I think most of these times these words are being used so loosely that they have just like lost all meaning. Like, people heard another person use it and they start using it too. And not everything is normalizing something and not everything is glorifying something. I do have to clarify this. Engaging with fiction does not automatically mean that you endorse it. Even I would say like those controversial shows from the early 2000s, if I would say very semi-questionable plot lines, you can still in fact criticize the show that you like, and you know, you can still enjoy it. Just seen a lot of people like stack a bunch of like serious sounding terms together and think of it as like a valid point and want to be praised for like, you're so nuanced, you're so nichemaxxing, you're so we sub fives or whatever the term is just can't compete with your natural intellect. Like, okay, we'll think about it. If your entire argument relies on like those like really big buzzwords, then maybe it's not as strong as you think it is. It just kind of shuts down any real conversations to be made, because instead of explaining why something is harmful, people would just rather label it with like some big SAT word and just move on. Because if everything is problematic, or if everything now is like harmful, then those words are just gonna lose their weight when something actually serious comes up. I don't know. I'm not really gonna make any deep societal commentary about a drawing of a fictional man kissing another fictional man. Maybe that's just another video for another time, but mostly it's just the drawing, it's pixels. My foundation for this mindset is that I obviously won't talk about it to my siblings or my professors about it. I don't necessarily go up to people like, I don't know, if a cashier asked me how a day was, I'm gonna be like, wow, I really, really hate those like some zero artists that draw Jane like that. I hate fan service. I'm like, okay. Okay, what was my main point again? I'm saying that we're just losing the plot. Like, like, you don't have to like everything, and you don't have to agree with everything online. But you don't really get to control what everyone does online. Like, you can just mind your own business. Like, create your own space and use the block button, or like, I don't know, scroll. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's kind of all.